Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Forbidden Land podcast. This episode contains very graphic and detailed discussions of sexual assault, particularly pertaining to the recent accusations against Maine former Senate candidate Graham Platner. So, if discussions of sexual assault and anything regarding this topic make you uncomfortable, there will be a timestamp in the description and a chapter to skip to if you would rather skip that part. Because I do go into not excruciating detail, but I definitely get into it a bit in a way that I don't normally do. So if those discussions make you uncomfortable, we have a timestamp, or you could simply click off if that's what you wish to do. So with that being said, here's the episode. Hello, everyone. A Maine leftist candidate in Maine named Graham Platner, who I've spoken about a few times on here, has been credibly accused of sexual assault. A political article dropped. And this comes a little bit after the New York Times article came out, where a few women made some accusations that he, might have done some inappropriate things. But this political article kind of nails the coffin. There's a lot of evidence in this one. I know a lot of left-leaning people are kind of in denial over this. I'm not. I read the article once and was like, yeah, it's over. Essentially what the article says is she accuses him of coming into her house drunk, and she did not give him permission to come in. He forced his way in and then forced himself on her. One of the more graphic details is that she told him not to finish in her, and then he did anyways. And then apparently the next morning, he woke up and tried to put his arm around her, and she told him to leave. He claims, apparently to her, that he had no memory of the night before. And those are the accusations. And I've seen some reporting that it's journalistic malpractice to not include that she asked him for a massage before that. But just because you make a comment about, oh, you should give me a massage, doesn't then give you blanket consent for the rest of the night. And consent can be revoked. And there seems to be, this happened in 2021. There seems to be a lot of text conversations that she had with friends of hers at the time, where she discusses this incident vaguely, but still discusses it as if it happened. And this was before he was ever, a political candidate of any kind. And it seems credible. Now, Graham Platner has had multiple red flags up to this point. I've talked about it. I even wrote an article about it. Is Graham Platner a wolf in sheep's clothing? And I talked about how it makes me uncomfortable that, one, he had the Nazi tattoo on his chest. And that also he, was a prison guard at Abu Ghraib, worked for Blackwater, which was known as Constellus by the time he started working there. And there were even articles coming out where it was saying he at the time in fighting in Iraq would say things like, he enjoys killing people, and apparently he even would make comments about sexually assaulting the people that they were hunting in Iraq. And for people to say that this is a surprise, for people to say that this doesn't come as a surprise to them, it comes as a surprise to me that there is a full blown credible rape allegation against him. I mean, I knew he was a mixed bag candidate. I don't think I ever fully endorsed him. I think I said over time that I'm not fully on the Platner wagon, but he has positions that win me over. He has a way that he carried himself that I found to be refreshing from a politician. But this is just that I can't get behind this. I'm leftist, but being a leftist also means that you fight for women's rights, and most importantly, believe women when they bring allegations against someone that is credible. And there's a lot of evidence here. If you're denying that he did this, I mean, you're fighting an uphill battle. I'll just say that you're fighting a major uphill battle. And I've seen a lot of leftists in denial about it. I'm not shocked. Like, there's a pretty prominent Twitter leftist, Gato Fumador, I think is his name, his or her name, and they've been kind of losing the plot on the timeline by trying to debunk the allegations. I don't know, man. I don't know about all that. And in even more disappointing fashion, Platner has come out and denied these allegations pretty outright. And look, I'm not surprised that he would deny them, right? I mean, if these are 100% true, the statute of limitations is not over. I mean, she could file charges against him, and if he admits it, then that's a lot of evidence right there. I mean, that's a confession at that point, and he could, be convicted of it. And so I on one hand, I do kind of get why he would deny it, but to do it in this way, I'm very soured on, and he's done now. I'm out of it with him completely, obviously. I keep saying it was a nail in the coffin. The allegations definitely nailed the coffin. His responses so far have shoved the coffin into the grave and buried it under concrete. I never want to see him run for office ever again. And I hope he just goes back to being a fisherman and hopefully faces some kind of accountability for what he has been accused of. Because I don't want to see him in politics anymore. Here's his initial response to the allegations.
Wanted to directly address the troubling, serious, and false allegations against me. Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false. Over the last 10 months, I have been deeply humbled by the faith Mainers have put in me. You have welcomed me into your homes, into your places of work, into your restaurants, into your houses of worship. You have shown that a different kind of politics, one that puts the interests of people over corporations, is not just possible, but is inevitable. This movement we have built, the largest volunteer base in the history of Maine politics, the hundreds of thousands of grassroots donors, and the supporters across the ideological spectrum, we were united in a love of Maine, a belief that our politics must change, and a focus on defeating Susan Collins. So, regardless of the inaccuracy of the reporting, but mindful of the political reality it will inflict, we are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward for the state that I love, the people that I love, the movement I belong to, and the goal of defeating Susan Collins. Those were the goals when we launched this campaign, and they remain my goals today. On June 9th, 154,000...
All right, you get the point. I think this video shouldn't have been made. Genuinely, I think this video shouldn't have been made. I feel like the video should have been held off until he announced him dropping out of the race. Here's Zoran Mamdani's response to, because look, you might think like, what the hell does Zoran Mamdani know about Maine politics? A lot of the people that helped Zoran's campaign, went up to Maine and attempted to help Platner. So this is, pretty close to Zoran Mamdani. And here's his response when asked about it.
I wanted to ask, given that you have a sort of ascendant role in the Democratic Party, could you talk about the Maine Senate race? Do you think that Graham Platner should drop out of the race? And do you have any intention of endorsing any candidates in competitive races outside of New York, El Said, or anyone else?
No, I believe that it's time for him to drop out of the race. And when it comes to my own...
Yeah, pretty straightforward. He's been on fire lately, man. The thing with the buckled building in Manhattan, the fast and free buses stuff, he's been on fire lately. And I love his communication style, just very direct, straightforward. I'm glad that he didn't feel the need to dance around that question, that he just said, yeah, it's time for him to drop out. I do wish more politicians were like that, where they were more willing to just say what they think and not just like dance around it. So here's his long ass video where he announces him dropping out of the race, which again, the audio, man. How do you fuck up the audio from your phone?
Everyone, it's Graham Platner here.
It's only in my right
Over
ear.
the past couple days, I have faced some very serious allegations, and I just want to make it clear. This is all false. The things that have been claimed did not happen.
Again, coming out, denying the claims. This video should have simply been, a dropout of the race announcement, not an 11-minute screed. I'm not saying he should come out and be like, yep, folks, I did it. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, as a human being, you know why he's not going to do that. But he should have just gotten straight to the point, where he should have been like, look, whether or not the allegations are true or not, that doesn't matter, for the sense that this is still going to kill this campaign, and I care more about my ideals than I care about being in the Senate myself. So I'm going to relinquish my position in the race and let somebody with the same ideals as me take over. That's how it should have gone, not an 11-minute screed that it's just him talking and talking and talking.
It's not real. It has placed an immense amount of weight on me as I think about what needs to happen now. Amy and I are regular people. We were not looking for this experience. We were not looking to get into politics. We had no desire to run for office. I just want you to think about like what you would do as a regular person in a position where a much larger world, large forces were working against you personally to accuse you of the worst thing that a person could do, and it was not remotely true. I learned about this through press inquiries, with no time to truly respond, no time for investigations before a corporate media system and the political establishment got to act as judge, jury, and executioner.
Okay. I don't like that he blames the political establishment in the media for this. I mean, this is a bit bizarre. And I think this video might have actually killed all the goodwill that he might have still had with some people. Not that he deserves it if, those allegations are true, but I think it's bizarre to essentially lay out the blueprint for future men that get accused of sexual assault by just having them go and spew conspiracies like, oh, it's the media, the establishment, they're coming after me. Not the best look. Not the best look.
Accusations are supposed to be the beginning of things, not the end. I think it's really important to understand why this is happening in the timeline, why this is happening right now, much like October, when the first attack started, much like...
I think I'm done watching this now because it's ridiculous, but October is infamously when he was exposed for having the Nazi tattoo on his chest. So this now makes me realize that he actually doesn't feel all that bad for having the Totenkopf on him. Because I thought, I didn't like that he had the Nazi tattoo. I thought it was very improbable that he didn't know it was a Nazi symbol. I mean, I knew it was a Nazi symbol. I know there's a lot of people out there that didn't, but like that's the second most recognizable Nazi symbol in the world. Like, they literally, or probably more like the third, but like they literally wore that shit on their fucking uniforms and stuff, like on their helmets. I mean, it's a very recognizable symbol from that era. And I said it's very improbable that he didn't know, or at least maybe didn't know at the time, but definitely would have at least found out at some point in the last 13 years or so, or 10 years, however long he had it. But I said, you know what? The fact that he covered it up and swiftly dispelled this whole thing, made me feel a little better about it. If that's what he's referring to, that these were attacks, I'm a little disappointed by that. I feel like an idiot now for even thinking for a second that he felt even remotely bad for the Nazi tattoo. And also around this time, I guess he might also be referring to the fact that after the Nazi tattoo came out, people dug deeper into him because clearly someone didn't vet him properly. And they found out that he was a prison guard at Abu Ghraib, which is the infamous prison where the American military tortured prisoners and posed in horrific graphic photos with the prisoners. It's a famous case, or an infamous case from the Iraq War. And then also he served as a private security consultant for Constellus, which was formerly Blackwater, which, as you may know, Blackwater massacred an entire town square of Iraqi people, which Trump then later pardoned those mercenaries for doing so. He had a lot of red flags. He served in Fallujah, of all places. There's, people accusing him of saying very serial killer-esque things about Iraqi people while he was fighting over there. People that knew him saying that, no, actually, he was very, gung-ho and ready to just murder people without a second thought. I mean, there were a lot of things coming out about him at that point because people started digging into him, and it seems like this was going to be an inevitable thing, that this was going to come out. Based on the information we have, it seemed fairly inevitable that this was going to come out before the election. And we saw like this just killed Eric Swalwell's campaign too. This exact type of thing, and really goes to show that we need more, proper vetting. And I've seen the argument from the Majority Report, which has like renounced all support of Platner, which is insane because Platner watches the Majority Report. I've seen, even the Majority Report, be like, hey, if DSA was involved in the main race, would he have even gotten through onto a DSA ticket? And I would say probably not. I think they would have vetted him enough. I think the military stuff to begin with would have probably turned them away from him. But I think the Nazi tattoo, they would have discovered that during the vet process. I think for sure they would have found that if they were vetting him. I don't think anybody competently vetted him at all. Because how do you overlook such obvious problems? I mean, the military service history, one of his family members is like a spokesperson for like an Israeli advocacy group or something like that. Uh, like, hence the whole fact that we all thought he would be the next John Fetterman. That nobody caught that he had the Totenkopf on his fucking chest right here. And then, there's been apparently, whispers of an accusation floating around for a while, and this just confirms it. I mean, I stopped talking about Platner a while ago when those articles were coming out about him saying like psycho shit about killing Iraqi people. And I really stopped talking about him and only really talked about Susan Collins and the grander topic of war, especially around the time the New York Times article came out, because I was like, I don't want to even touch this guy anymore, like with a 10-foot pole. I don't even want to touch the topic of him. And now I really want nothing to do with him. I hope he boots himself out of Maine politics for the rest of time. But also, we have another major issue where he's rat fucked us in that race. His race, and I was just thinking about this the day before this article came out, about the fact that the Georgia, Michigan, and Maine Senate races are so important right now in taking back the Senate. And, John Ossoff obviously will be a useful Democrat to have, because he votes pretty much in favor of whatever the party's in favor of, like 98% or 97% of the time or something like that, which would be good for. And he seems to be kind of getting a little stronger on his anti-aid to Israel stance. Sort of. He's still a J Street recipient. But, I was thinking like, okay, we can get him for the numbers so we can at least have the majority. And then hopefully Abdul al-Sayed wins the primary and then wins the general. Especially after I just watched him mop the floor with Haley Stevens during that debate. And then, Maine will be taken by Graham Platner, who was clearly way more popular than Janet Mills and way more popular than Susan Collins. And now he's totally fucked us, because ballots have to be finalized very soon in Maine. And the Democratic Party in Maine is meeting to select a new candidate in a closed doors primary, essentially, where they're not going to let the people pick. They're just going to pick one. And right now, the highest polling individual is Troy Jackson, who is a Maine logger, I think. I don't know that much about him. I believe he might be DSA affiliated. Don't take my word for that. He seems to be a pretty decent candidate. He's definitely polling higher than Collins at the moment. And here's the polls. Platner currently trailing behind Collins in this poll. Mills is trailing even farther. So if they chose Mills, it'd be election suicide. So really, Jackson's the only one I can think of taking his place. And yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of endorsements. I hope they pick someone that represents the progressive values that the people of Maine chose. And I've seen a lot of people really like lashing out about this thing, like, oh, you didn't notice that Graham Platner was a bad dude, and you should have had all this hindsight. If you're expecting all these people that endorsed Platner to just have had foresight that he'd turn out to be an accused rapist, you're a bit stupid. And I feel like it's very reasonable to not expect to not just automatically assume that just because someone has a pretty bad past and a questionable line of behavior that they're automatically like a rapist or something. I don't think that's very healthy to have that mindset. But yeah, I do have some words. I wish DSA got more involved in races like these. I really do wish DSA had gotten more involved in this race, because then we wouldn't have had I almost said Fetterman. Then we wouldn't have had Platner, and we wouldn't be stuck with this situation right now, and we could have had a more consistent, reliable, not checkered past leftist on the ballot instead of Platner, who people have been skeptical of for a while now. So, yeah, that's the situation right now. Pretty devastating for Maine voters. Pretty devastating for women. I mean, horrible situation for the woman that accused him. And I feel bad for her in the sense that I feel bad for her because she not only had to go through this, but wouldn't tell anyone because she said that his views on politics align with hers and that she didn't want to hurt the movement. And that's so sad, man. That's so sad. I feel like you should feel you should feel, how do I want to word it? You should be able to air out your story if you have had something like this happen to you. You should be able to air that out without the fear of hurting a political movement. Because especially this side of the aisle, I mean, this side of the aisle, the fact that we've responded the way that we have and turned on a dime against Platner shows you that, our values are still here. We'll just replace the guy. The guy is bad. We can find someone else with the same ideals. And, also think about the fact that Donald Trump was literally classified in a court of law as having sexually assaulted E. Jean Carroll. And Republicans still voted that motherfucker into office. So that shows you the difference between the two parties, that Republicans will rock and ride with a damn near fully confirmed rapist, but leftists at least won't. Democrats is a mixed bag. Democrats for the most part will cast out terrible people like that, but there's a few that they let through the cracks. In more congressional issues, audio released of about, is it down? Oh no, most of these are literally TikToks. Shit. Oh no. Firefox always has to update, bro. Never reliable. About a month ago, there was a 911 call that said that Senator Mitch McConnell, who used to be the majority leader in the Senate during the Obama years, there was a 911 call made that he had gone into cardiac arrest.
East Army Supervisor, CPR in progress.
Okay.
EMS to respond for cardiac arrest. 217 C3 notice in Charlie. EMS to respond for cardiac arrest. 217 C3 notice in Charlie. Cruise of 2nd Street in Charlie 11, 843.
Medic 3, you have EMS 2 coming.
Medic 3, communication.
So apparently they've been hiding this for about a month now because nobody knew that Mitch McConnell was just held up in a hospital somewhere, essentially like damn near dead. Nobody knew this, and that's pretty alarming that no one knew that Mitch McConnell might have been possibly just dead.
No information.
Here's the governor of Kentucky, the state
we've received no
the state that Mitch represents, saying that he has no information regarding this.
information, no updates. If there's been any direct outreach I'm unaware of it. I don't want to speculate about anybody's health. The only things that I know, I've read, and I can't verify. We have received.
That's not looking too good. It turns out that the Kentucky legislature actually stripped the governor of his power to appoint a new senator in the absence of a senator, mainly because they knew McConnell didn't have much left in him, and they didn't want a Democrat appointing a new senator, and in the fear that it would flip the government. But that's the thing. If Mitch McConnell is indeed dead, it would trigger a special election. And people are speculating that maybe they don't want that to happen because then Thomas Massie might have an actual shot at the Senate after losing his House primary. Speaking of Thomas Massie tweeted out, I spoke, because a lot of Republicans have been saying that they spoke to McConnell in the past couple days. He tweeted out, I spoke to McConnell for about 20 minutes this morning. He said we should end the war with Iran, quit giving aid to Israel, stop spying on Americans without a warrant, and he's really sorry about how my primary turned out. This is a crazy ass tweet to come from a sitting member of the House. Scott Jennings, the oh my god, Scott Jennings, the CNN MAGA contributor, tweeted out that he spoke to Mitch McConnell for a bit, and they talked just shy of 20 minutes about Iran, Ukraine, the unfolding situation in Maine, my visit to the TR Presidential Library, and even a little bit of Senate history. I told him we want to see him back at work as soon as possible. I fucking doubt it, bro. Yeah, I really fucking doubt it. A freaky ass photo someone put in their replies. I really fucking doubt that he actually spoke to Mitch McConnell. Yeah, pretty crazy that they've just been hiding a prominent U.S. senator for this long, for over a month, or almost a month, I mean. And so that's a sitting member of the Senate that just doesn't show up to work. So if they take any more votes, which the Senate goes back into session soon, there's just not going to be anybody there to represent Kentucky other than Rand Paul. And yeah, I mean, I feel like there should be some kind of law about vacancy. If you just go missing and no one hears from you and you don't show up to the Senate anymore, your seat's vacated at that point. So I don't know. Just saying. I mean, call me radical, I guess. Speaking of Thomas Massie, a Fox Digital reporter came up to him and asked him a question. Well, I gotta fucking stand up for a second. Damn. Shorts were like riding up my ass. A Fox Digital reporter went up to Thomas Massie on the street and decided to ask him about a story that they were going to run about him. And I want you to just see the way that Massie turns this on him. I mean, it's really immature, but it is really funny. Because he hits him with like that classic middle school line.
To clear up the stuff your ex is saying about you with the NDA, that you pressured her to sign an NDA for wrongful termination. What is that true? What she's saying about you?
Who are you with?
With Fox Digital.
It's all false.
And what she said about you and Boebert having an intimate relationship?
It's all false.
Why do you think she's out there saying it? Was it because of the primary, ahead of the primary? What do you think is motivating it?
When did you all become a tabloid? Seriously, dude.
Well,
It is really funny to ask a Fox reporter when Fox News became a tabloid. Fox News has always been a tabloid. Famous examples include the Obama tan suit, the Obama cheeseburger incident. You know, enjoy your fancy burger, President Obama. Just to name a few. I mean, they've been a tabloid ever since Obama got elected. Or really ever since he was running for president. They've been a major tabloid news outlet. So I don't know where he's getting that from. But this is what happens, man. When you end up on the wrong side of King Trump, then this is what Fox does. They cannibalize you. You know, they absolutely eat you alive. You are now an enemy of the conservative news apparatus.
I just thought I would give you a chance to respond because you've never been able to tell your side of the story. That's all. But anything you could say.
So let me ask you. I heard that you like gay porn. Is that true?
Congressman, I'm not. I just want to give you a chance. Your side.
I'm giving you a chance to give me your side.
I'm not going to get into.
Are you a real news organization or not? No, come back, man. All you got to say is you don't like it. That you haven't been to those websites.
Of course,
all right.
Of course, I don't like it.
Really?
But thank you.
That's not what I heard.
Thank you for your time. Yeah, that was my. Just giving you a chance to respond. That's all.
And you're with Fox?
But thank you.
Is that a real news organization?
No.
Is this what you do for a living, man?
Congressman, we're good. Thank you.
Literally hit him with the, "Are you gay?" I mean, it's immature, but I really do love how much Massey just tortures conservative media and conservative candidates, and you know, I don't agree with Massey on like almost anything that he believes other than Israel and like war and Epstein. But like, pretty damn funny, you know. It's pretty damn funny to see him look at a Fox reporter in the eyes and go, "Hey, I heard you watch gay porn. Is that true?" Oh my god. In some pretty big news, Mallory McMorrow dropped out of the Senate primary in Michigan. She was only polling at about 9% from what I last saw, and she's just an incredibly unpopular candidate, man. I mean, what are they going to do with her face poster now? She was just so unpopular, and like, you know, she was just bogging down the race, and her ideas were so like fence sitter. Like she was LARPing as a progressive, but was erring towards the Democratic establishment, kept saying very weird, borderline racist shit about Muslims. You know, she I mean, she almost took AIPAC money, apparently. Apparently they reached out to see if they would be a viable donor for her campaign, and they were like, well, we already got Stevens. You know, we already have our Israeli mega donor, mega donee, Haley Stevens, who is a sitting congresswoman, so we ain't giving you, you know, $30 million or whatever the fuck. And yeah, she dropped out, and there was a big debate between Stevens and Abdul al-Sayed a couple days ago. And Abdul al-Sayed mopped the floor with her. I mean, just totally destroyed her. What's up with that? Why haven't you released your tax returns? I think that's just irresponsible. I mean, where's all your money coming from? You haven't released any of your tax returns. What's with that? And then, like, he'd be like, so look, lore time. I have Tourette's, and during the debate, they would cut to the split cam, right? You all know what the split cam is. You know, where they have the, let me see if I can get a good example. You know, the split cam where it's like, boom, you know, candidate talking is on one side, candidate reacting is on the other. And she's on the other camera, like, like on like one of the first things he says. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is happening? And I gotta see if I can find. I gotta see if I can find a clip of her bugging. Yeah, look at this shit, dude. Hold on, I need like a video clip. Give me a video. Come on. I got a screenshot. That's all I have. Yeah, here's like a one example of just like what the fuck is going on during this debate? Like, what is she doing? And then that morning too, Netanyahu went on CNN and like said a couple bad things about her just so she could weaponize it during the debate. Oh, I'm not super pro Netanyahu, seeing as how he went on CNN and trashed me this morning on CNN. Me and Netanyahu do not see eye to eye. You know, it's like such a coordinated effort to be like, look, no, they're actually arguing a little bit. Oh, they have the same worldview. She sees Israel in her dreams. But, you know, they had a little spat, so, you know, so she's not totally pro-Israel. Ignore the $30 million, AIPAC money campaign in this election cycle, in that one race. Yeah. I wish I had a photo of her at the debate. Because it looks, or not a photo, a video, because it looks crazy. See if I can find one. So I looked up if she has Tourette's. And she's on like the Tourette's caucus in the House, I guess. I didn't know that was a thing, to be honest. So I suppose it's possible that she just hasn't openly admitted that she has it. But perhaps it would be a good time to say that she does, because her faces during the this debate are crazy. Here you go. Here's when he was responding to one of the first things they were talking about. Oh yeah, I want a hot dog real bad. Oh, you're saying things I don't like. Where's your tax returns? Why don't you show us your tax returns? And then people might want to vote for you. And she's over here fucking bugging. Oh my god. Freaky motherfucker, dude. I hope he wins. He got endorsed by AOC after McMorrow dropped out, so I sincerely hope he wins. You know, we need more progressive candidates, especially in the Senate. It is so hard to get progressives like that in the Senate because, you know, there's only so many senators. Meanwhile, there's like, you know, what, 438 House members or something like that. So, last thing. Never mind, not the last thing. Holy shit, I have more on this talk. We lock in. Gotta lock the fuck in here. So the 4th of July in Washington, D.C., it's pretty well known now that it was pretty much a disaster. Every shot of the National Mall during the event was empty, and I saw a video of like a electrical panel falling from the rafters during like a dance performance and landed right behind the dancers. Like, thank God no one was there to see that mistake. But on the actual 4th of July, you know, the big 250, They had to evacuate the National Mall because because a storm rolled in. How karmic that the President of the United States, who threw out the old committee for the event and hired a bunch of quacks to hold this joke of an event, ends up getting rained out for his big performance. And the performance still happened, but I think it happened like at like 2 a.m. the next day. But yeah, like people were being told to seek shelter.
Or a nearby permanent building. Please follow the instructions of event staff and law enforcement as you exit. The Freedom 250 social media platforms will provide updates. Attendees can return to the fairgrounds as soon as it is safe to do so. Thank you for your cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Due to approaching severe weather, we are temporarily...
And everyone's just standing around, of course, because Trump supporters can't think. Like, they hear this announcement and the cogs start to turn, and then they lock up, and they keep, like, banging into each other. And then once the announcement's over, they just, like, foom, and they start rolling again, but they didn't process the warning. So, people were pissed, dude. And then, like... Here's the fireworks show. Just this fucking like nuclear bomb level disaster. Let me see if I can pull this up.
Is DC okay?
Look at this. Oh my god. You can't even see the show. It's just blanketed in smoke. And apparently people were advised the next day to like wear face masks and stuff because the air quality was going to be so bad.
Is DC okay?
Yeah. Just a reminder, fellas, this is very clear that just because you have more fireworks doesn't mean it's going to be better. But there was a really dark undertone to this whole thing. While we're, making jokes and laughing about the disaster that is Freedom 250, a group of white supremacists didn't storm DC, but definitely flooded in and occupied DC on the 4th. And this photo is so crazy. Like, this is going to be in, like, history books. A group of white supremacists called Patriot Front bust into DC to hold one of their Klan rallies ahead of the event. And they went there, and it reminds me, I would assume to just have a Nazi rally pretty much, but this reminds me of the Unite the Right rally back in 2018. Also, boom, identifiable information right there. But I feel like I feel like the Klan in this country is dying at this point. This is like one of the last like wheezes of them, right? But it's crazy that they did this on America's 250th birthday and not a word from any public officials. And it's just really disgusting to know that there's still large swaths of people that are that fucking racist. Here's them marching down the streets of DC. See the good old Stars and Bars battle flag in there. Folks, what are we doing? Oh, there's multiple actually. Hold on. Wait a minute. There's that one, and then there's this one. I don't understand that. You're here to celebrate the United States 250th anniversary, and you brought a rebellion flag from when slave owners revolted, seceded from the Union, and then fought a 5-year, like, deadly ass war to keep their slaves. Like, that's the flag that. Why are you bringing a flag like that to that kind of thing, you know? But they're all Nazis, so that's why. Here's a streamer. A streamer basically being like, hell yeah, this is for the Aryan race, folks.
Like mom. Ellie looks just like me. Oh yeah. You're doing good, bud. You're doing good. We got plenty of stuff.
How many viewers we got?
We're up to 460 now.
Let's go.
That's incredible.
What's up, YouTube? You guys having fun? Happy 250, guys.
Happy 250. I know it's hard to see the screen. Can we get ones in the chat? If audio, video, all that's good, can we get ones? Is everybody doing okay? If we got 460 people in here, then we
can we get ones in the chat for a total Aryan mockery?
Ones in the chat for total Aryan mockery, total Aryan victory, total Aryan Anglo.
Fucking losers, dude. Total fucking losers. Can we get ones in the chat for total Aryan victory, folks? Guys, can we get W's in the chat for the list of people we're about to go lynch? Pathetic men, dude. These look at these little pathetic white guys. Genuinely, how is this superior? How are these guys superior to people of color? How? Like, genuinely. What's their claim to fame here? Being stupid? Being racist? I mean, racist people spend so much time being racist that they're dog shit at everything else, and that's why they think that they're being slighted when black people excel over them, you know? Maybe if you focus a little less on the racism thing, white people, you would, you know, develop social skills, develop a trade or a skill or a talent. Just saying, you know. But they would never actually do that because they all mistake confidence as being masculine. But yeah, this did remind me of the Unite the Right rally. And if you forgot what that is, here's a photo that should jog your memory. Or a couple photos, I should say. To jog your memory. Famously, this one. Famously, this one down here. And, you know, obviously this one because it shows all the tiki torches. But yeah. That's what it reminds me of. Is this. Which was like a huge deal at the time. I mean, it's still a big deal, but this was like national news. People couldn't believe it. It was like, you know, insane that a Nazi rally had just taken place like this. And we had a Nazi rally schedule itself for our town, the city that I live in. And we were all like, what the fuck, man? And like, there were, you know, small news outlets broadcasting live feeds of where they were going to be. No one showed up. I think like 4 Nazis actually showed up to the entire thing. And they were met with like hundreds of counter protesters. Oh, man. Yeah. It's so disgusting. But they're emboldened, man. They're emboldened by Trump to do shit like this in a way that they weren't emboldened before. All right, now we're on the last topic. And it's a brief mention, but we got to talk about it because it is important. And it will start affecting us in the next week or two. And that would be the Iran war has now officially continued. The MOU is dead. Trump announced it, that the MOU fell through. and it's officially dead. And he's now saying that he wants to take Karg Island. Now, the reason why we don't take Karg Island is because then Iran would just start blowing up the energy infrastructure of all the Gulf states. All the Gulf states. And they clearly don't want that. Good luck trying to give Patriot missiles to every country in the Middle East.
Last night, we knocked out a piece. I said, don't touch the oil, because maybe we'll take over Karg Island. You know, we may take over Karg Island. There's not a thing they can do about it. But I said, don't hit the pipes, just hit everything else. And they hit it. They may hit it again tonight. So, you know,
don't hit the oil. Don't hit that precious oil. We're trying to take it. Don't mind the fact that my Treasury Department just made the purchase of Iranian oil illegal. Don't pay attention to that. Don't pay attention to gas prices rising in the next week. Yeah, they're already predicting that gas prices are about to skyrocket, especially since our oil reserves are running kind of dry. And yeah. Apparently we are bombing northern Iran right now. Apparently we restarted this back up because Iran shot a boat in its own waters in the Strait of Hormuz and enforced its own already stated rules that if you try to pass through the strait without permission, we will fire on you. So, yeah, that's what we're doing now. We're gonna keep spending more billions of dollars on this useless war. Yeah, what a waste. We could have had healthcare and all that. Now there's like even rumors that he might be planning the invasion now for Cuba. So multi-front conflicts. You know, good luck ever affording a house. What I'll say. So yeah, that's the Iran war. That's how it's going right now. Pretty ridiculous. And yeah, sorry this episode had a pretty heavy beginning. But you know, it's important that we talk about stuff like this. I feel like a lot of leftists, especially men, especially white men, definitely turn a blind spot to stuff like this. You know, like white guys see Graham Platner with the Totenkopf tattoo and they're like, all right, you know, maybe he's changed. But if you're Jewish and you see that, you know, it's going to make you uncomfortable. You're going to be more on the fence about this kind of stuff. And it's just because white leftists don't have the ability a lot of the time to relate to how something negatively affects other people. And it is a very common critique of the far left. But yeah, I mean, you know, we should stand behind people that make these claims, especially when they are very credible. And you know what? I hope they choose Troy Jackson. Oh my God, I really hope they do. And yeah, I mean, so disappointing, really, that one of the more promising Senate candidates, despite a lot of his very glaring problems, turned out to be a alleged rapist. So, anywho, next week we will have a new episode, and you know, it'll be political as usual. You already know the drill. But yeah, so yeah, next week we'll have new stuff as always. I do plan on making my tier list. I actually have 2 tier lists now planned out, so look out for that. But I'm gonna do the energy drink one first because I already did the Celsius one. I'm gonna make an Alani Nu tier list. I already have it planned out. It'll be similar to the Celsius one. And yeah, that look out for those. If you want to support this podcast or really just support this podcast at all, you can go to patreon.com/forbiddenlandpod. This episode will not be coming out early on the Patreon because I feel like it's kind of gross to use this episode as a way to get a Patreon supporter. But other episodes are early. So, look out for that. And also, if you just want to support the show and financially back this show, that's much appreciated. It does indeed cost a decent amount of my time to make these. I spend about 2 hours a day procuring information. I mean, I spend my day in general learning new things and paying attention to the news, but sometimes, the research takes a while. And I spend at least 4 hours on the day of recording, editing, rendering, all that stuff. So it's a lot of work. So if you want to support, you can do that. You can go to the shop, buy something. You can do it that way. If you want to listen to this podcast on audio platforms instead of watching the video and seeing my dashing face, you can go to Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, all those types of platforms. And if you have a Samsung smart fridge, you could probably listen to it on that too. Same thing with an Amazon fridge, we found out. Except that one's more plausible. You actually probably could listen to this podcast on your Amazon smart fridge. I know that almost for a full fact at this point. So, yeah. I mean, it's possible, I would suppose. And with that, I bid you adieu. Hopefully we have more hopeful, happy news next week and not a complete collapse of the main progressive wing of the Democratic Party. And yeah. So have a good weekend. See y'all next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And peace.